What's up, guys? Welcome to this Star Wars cake tutorial. This is what the cake looks like that we'll be making. First, I start by rolling out some navy blue fondant and I cut it out with a 5 cutter. And then I wanted an outline of the 5 with a different color, so I'm using white. So what I did is I flipped the cutter over and it just kind of makes sure that it's big enough to go around the navy blue 5. And then I insert a floral wire into some of my edible glue and then I stick it right there in the center and I let that dry so it can be a nice cake topper. And now I'm going to move on to the Star Wars logo, and I'm using some more of that navy blue fondant and I'm just cutting it out, and these are from JB Cookie Cutters. I'll put a link in the description, and I'm just resting it on some Zenlogy parchment paper so that it can dry and not stick to my work surface. What's great about this cutter is it comes with the outline so that you can put the whole logo inside there, and it fits perfectly, as you can see here. I just make sure it fit, and then after that I'm putting my edible glue on the back of the navy blue letters, and then I'm sticking it to that white part, and then I just let that dry until that's ready to go on my cake. That's what it looks like. And now we're going to move on to BB-8. What's great about this cutter is it comes with the embosser as well, so that you can get all those fine details. I also take a floral wire, dip it into my edible glue, and then I'm able to stick it in the middle. And this is just so that it can stand up straight on top of my cake. Right now I'm painting with some of my favorite paints ever. This is poppy paint. I mixed an orange and a yellow just to get the correct shade of orange that I wanted. And I'm using a very fine brush to get in all these little crevices and make all the little details. I'll put a link in the description for the brushes that I use as well. Right now I'm going in with some black poppy paint for some of those smaller details and some silver as well. I'm just adding some little details as I see in the picture of BB-8 that I'm using as a reference. And then after I'm done with that, I'm going to use a different brush, a dry brush, and I'm going to be using some brown petal dust. This is edible. I just add some detail, like kind of like BB-8 was in the dirt or something. I don't know, it just kind of made it look a lot better. Gives it more detail. Now we can move on to the actual cake. So I have some nice blue buttercream here that I'm adding to my chilled crumb-coated cake. I'm just adding it with an offset spatula, and then I use a smooth cake comb from Esther Cakes. I'll put a link in the description. If you are interested in learning on how I get my buttercream cakes so smooth, I do have an online class available. I'll put a link in the description for that. And now I'm going to be making the lightsabers. I wanted a blue one and a red one, so I'm just adding some Tylose powder to my fondant before I knead it. And this just helps your fondant to dry nice and hard in that shape. So I'm just cutting them, and then I'm rounding the edges of one side only, just to look like the end of the lightsaber. And then once I have that done, I just lay them both down on my little cutting mat, and I want them to look like they're behind the Star Wars logo, so that's why I cut them at that angle. That was the look that I was going for. And right now I'm adding some white fondant to the end of the bottom, and I glue it with my edible glue. This is going to be the handle, and then I roll these little tiny balls, and I'm going to glue those to the handle, and they're just like buttons on, you know, the handle of the lightsaber. And then once those are glued on there, I'm painting it with some silver poppy paint. I just make sure to pick them up, that way I can paint the sides of them. Now back to the cake. I wrap my finger in plastic wrap, and this is so that I don't get paint all over my finger. I'm putting the white poppy paint onto this toothbrush that's for cake decorating only, and then I pull back the bristles with my finger that has the plastic wrap on it, and then it kind of just sprays the cake, and it looks like stars in a galaxy, so it looks pretty cool. And then once you take the plastic wrap off, your finger's nice and clean. I'm adding my toppers here to the top of the cake, and then I'm just gluing some little stars. These are Wilton gold stars, but I wanted them silver, so I'm painting them with silver poppy paint. This is how it came out. I hope you guys enjoy.